Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are breaking down the promises sellers make every time you buy something. Have you ever really thought about what your rights are when a product just fails? Well, it's way more than just a store's return policy. Let's dive in.
Okay, let's start with a feeling we all know. You've been there, right? You get that new thing home, you open the box, and it's a dud. It doesn't work. That sinking feeling is just the worst. But what you might not realize is that the law actually has a lot to say about what happens next.
You see, it all comes down to what kind of promise the seller broke. Because here's the thing. In the eyes of the law, not all promises are created equal. And that single difference is what determines your power as a customer.
So every time you make a purchase, the seller is making certain promises. The law has a formal name for them. They're called stipulations. Think of these as the fundamental ground rules of your agreement, covering everything from the big selling points down to the tiniest details.
And here is the absolute key. These promises, these stipulations, they aren't all on the same level. They're actually ranked by importance, and that ranking is what gives you, the buyer, the power to demand a full refund or just a repair or something else entirely.
And that brings us to the two concepts at the very heart of this whole thing: conditions and warranties. If you can get these two straight in your head, you are going to be a much smarter consumer.
All right, let's start with a condition. This is the big one. It's the absolute core of the deal. It's the main reason you're buying the product in the first place. So if a condition is broken, the whole purchase is basically pointless for you.
And then you've got a warranty. Now, this is a secondary promise. It's more like an add-on. If a warranty gets broken, yeah, it's annoying for sure, but it doesn't make the entire purchase useless.
So this is really where it all comes together. The difference between a condition and a warranty, it's not just some dusty legal technicality. It's about what you can actually do when something you bought lets you down.
Just look at this table. Here is the crucial difference. If a condition is broken, you can walk away from the whole deal. You can end the contract, get your money back, and hand the product back. But if it's just a warranty, well, you're looking at a repair, or maybe some compensation, but not a full refund.
You know, the easiest way to think about it is like this. You buy a car. The engine, that's a condition. The radio, that's a warranty. I mean, you can't drive a car without an engine, but you can definitely live without a working radio. That's the difference in a nutshell.
Okay, but what about the promises that are never even said out loud? This is where consumer law gets really interesting. The law itself actually implies certain promises into most sales just to protect you, whether the seller mentions them or not.
So one of the most powerful unspoken rules is this idea of fitness for purpose. Basically, if you tell a seller why you need a product and you rely on their skill to recommend something, that product absolutely has to be up to the task. And this isn't just some theory. There's a famous old case where a man went into a shop and bought a hot water bottle. Later on, it burst and badly injured his wife. And this is where the law had to step in.
The court's decision was pretty clear. This was a breach of a core condition. I mean, a hot water bottle that can't safely hold hot water is not fit for its one and only purpose, right? The seller was held responsible for the injuries.
Then there's another unspoken rule called merchantable quality. It sounds a little bit fancy, but what it really boils down to is this. The product has to be good enough to do what it's supposed to do and be reasonably durable.
Let's look at another real-life example, and this one is pretty shocking. A young boy bought a simple plastic catapult. It snapped while he was using it normally, and tragically, he lost an eye.
The court again sided with the boy. The catapult was made from shoddy, faulty material, which made it fundamentally unsafe. This was a clear breach of that implied condition of merchantable quality.
Now, all of these protections we've been talking about might seem to fly in the face of a very famous old legal saying, one that basically suggests the buyer is on their own. You've probably heard of caveat emptor, right? It's Latin for let the buyer beware. And in the old days, this meant it was pretty much up to you, the buyer, to check your goods and make sure you weren't getting a dud. So, does that old rule mean you're totally out of luck if you find a problem after you've already paid for something? No, not at all. The truth is, modern consumer law has pretty much left buyer beware in the dust. That old rule has been replaced with a whole bunch of powerful protections, like those implied conditions of fitness for purpose and merchantable quality that we've just been talking about. So, let's bring this all together. What is the big takeaway here? Well, it's that knowing the difference between a condition and a warranty gives you real, actual power as a consumer.
Let's go back to that car one last time. The engine dies? Boom. That's a breach of a core condition. You can return the car and get your money back. The radio's on the fritz? Well, that's a warranty issue. You're entitled to get it fixed, but you can't return the whole car.
So the next time you're about to buy something, especially something important, just take a second and think about the promises being made, both the ones they tell you about and the ones they don't. What are the core conditions, and what are just the warranties? Because knowing that difference, well, that's how you protect yourself.